What time is even? What time is evening? What about morning or night? Time is constantly expressed throughout the scriptures. The great importance of time is shown even in the beginning of the biblical scriptures. The first chapter of Genesis, fifth verse, begins with the first instance and the very first definition of time. And Elohim called light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. That single verse gives us the definition of day, the definition of night, and it even gives us the definition of twilight, better known as the transition time between day and night. Verse 5 tells us that day is most simply light, and night is the very opposite, night being darkness. The last part of that verse gave the definition of twilight or evening as being separate from night, because twilight still offers us light. And as the scripture already stated, light is equivalent to day. Night is void of light. Night is darkness. Twilight still offers light, therefore, twilight is part of the day season. Twilight is an announcement of the soon upcoming change of the daily season. The book of Psalms spoke of the season of the night and its separation from the daytime or the day season. Psalms 22 verse 2. O my Elohim, I cry in the daytime, but you hear not, and in the night season I am not silent. The book of Job also spoke of the night season. Job 30 and verse 17. My bones are pierced in me in the night season, and my sinews take no rest. The separation of day and night was also shown in the New Testament. Night and day had their own set of hours. Acts 23 and 31. Make ready 200 soldiers to go to Caesarea at the third hour of the night. Twilight occurs twice daily. The first twilight occurs at the start of the day, at dawn. Twilight occurs the second time in the day between sunset and dusk. Both dawn and dusk present transition times, either from the night to the day or from the day to the night, better known as darkness to light or light to darkness. The time that we recognize as twilight dusk is biblically known as evening. Evening is not night. The evening shows light, which means that the evening is in fact part of daytime. It is the last portion of the light and daytime, but daytime nonetheless. This is shown to us in Genesis 1 and 5. And the evening and the morning were the first day. Upon creation, the Most High God Yah separated day from night. Just as Yeshua told us in Matthew 19 and 6, what therefore Yah has joined together, let no man put asunder. The statement is also true, that which Yah has separated, no man can join together. Yah separated day from night, and separate they are. Nowadays, during these so-called modern times, we are taught that a day equates to 24 hours. But that is not accurate biblically. The Bible teaches of a daily cycle, but that daily cycle consists of 12-hour day and a 12-hour night, not a 24-hour day. Yah has already defined day as light, and he defined night as darkness. We cannot redefine Yah's day to now meaning light combined with darkness equals one day. Yah has already defined both day and night. The Messiah Yeshua also spake of the difference in the day season and the night season. He also told us that there are only 12 hours in a day, not 24. John 11 and 9. Yeshua answered, Are there not 12 hours in a day? If any man walk in the day, he stumbles not, because he sees the light of this world. But if a man walks in the night, he stumbles, because there is no light in him. The day begins at dawn, as we are often awakened by the birds singing at the start of the day. The day ends at the completion of evening and dusk. The night begins after evening and dusk and continues until the beginning of the following day at dawn. This is the 24-hour daily cycle, not the 24-hour day. The book of Judges gives us an account of the sinful acts of the tribe of Benjamin. This account gives a time breakdown of the events with the starting of the close of the day after evening, followed by night, followed by dawn, a new day, followed by morning. This is found in Judges 19, verses 16, 22, and 25 through 27. And behold, there came an old man from his work out of the field at even. The men of the city beset the house round about and beat at the door, saying, Bring forth the man that came into thine house. So the man took his concubine and brought her forth, and they knew her and abused her all the night until the morning. And when the day began to spring, they let her go. Then came the woman in the dawning of the day, and fell down at the door till it was light. And her Adonai rose up in the morning and opened the doors of the house. Behold, the woman was fallen down at the door of the house. This account, like very many others throughout the scriptures, shows the progression of biblical time. The day begins at dawn, followed by morning, noon, even, and ends after dusk. The night begins and ends with dawn, starting a new day. During the Genesis creation week, Yahweh actively worked during the daylight hours, that being morning and evening. The scriptures do not speak of him working at night. He worked and created for 6 consecutive days, and on the 7th day, that is, during the daylight hours, he rested. Genesis 2, verses 2 and 3. And on the 7th day, Yah ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the 7th day from all his work which he had made. And Elohim blessed the 7th day and sanctified it, because that in it he rested from all his work which Yah had created and made. Yah blessed and sanctified the 7th day of the week, not the 7th night. The Sabbath day or 7th day begins at dawn and concludes after dusk or evening. The book of Romans and the first book of Thessalonians remind us of the order of time and that we serve the Most High Yah and are children of light and not of darkness. Romans 13 and 12. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness, and let us put on the armor of light. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 5. You are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. The incorrect Hebrew practice of giving honor to the night as being our 7th day or Sabbath day was taught during this Fourth World Empire known as the revived Roman Empire. During the early Roman Empire, New Testament age, the Israelites understood better the times. Today, however, we in this revived Roman Empire interpret the times based on the teachings of Israeli scholars, believing that the day begins at night. This Fourth World Empire was called in the 7th chapter of the book of Daniel, the fourth beast. Daniel 7 and 25 states, And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. This fourth beast truly did think to change both holy laws and times. Humans are not nocturnal beings like bats and owls, sleeping during the day and active at night, but we are diurnal beings, enjoying the daytime, lighted hours, and finding rest at night during the darkness. It has been this system of this fourth beast that has wrongly taught us that our Hebrew day begins at night. So let's get to the specific time ranges for biblical time frames. When is evening? The time of evening is a range. It begins at sundown and continues through dusk. The length of time that evening lasts is dependent upon the time of the year. Summertime offers the longest lasting time of the evening. The evening time frame, therefore, can last up to 90 minutes. The book of Genesis gives us an example of the time frame of evening being the last watering time for the animals before they are put away in their night enclosures for safekeeping. Genesis 24:11 states, "And he made his camels to kneel down without the city by a well of water at the time of the evening, even the time that the women go out to draw water." Because people of biblical times better understood time, this statement from Jeremiah, found in the book of Jeremiah, was used to express that it was getting late. Jeremiah 6:4. "Prepare you, war against her. Arise, let us go up at noon. Woe unto us, for the day goes away, for the shadows of the evening are stretched out." Sunrise and sunset produce the longest shadows of the day, because that's the most extreme angle before the horizon blocks the sun. At noontime, the shadow is the shortest. Again, evening begins at sundown and continues through dusk, right before night and darkness begins. What is even? The phrase "at even" occurs at least 31 times in the Bible. The time of even is shown throughout the scriptures to occur at sundown. Deuteronomy 16:6. "But at the place which Yahweh thy Elohim shall choose to place his name in, there you shall sacrifice the Passover at even, at the going down of the sun." Mark 1:32. "And at even, when the sun did set, they brought unto him all that were diseased and them that were possessed with devils." The Messiah, Yeshua, gave us several time frames to consider in the book of Mark. Mark 13:35. "Watch ye therefore, for you know not when the master of the house cometh, at even or sunset, or at midnight, middle of the night, or at the cock crowing, dawn, or in the morning, morning." Out of all the holy days, there are only 2 holy days that incorporate the night season in their timing. The first is Passover. Passover was kept and began during the daytime at evening, meaning the day season, sunset through twilight, on the 14th day of the first month. Let's read. Exodus 12:6. "And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening." The timing of the start of the Passover was very important because the sacrificing of the lamb or goat, or goat, for Passover, Exodus 12:5 states that either is acceptable. Exodus 12:5 states, "Ye shall take it out from the sheep or from the goats." During the day, at sunset, was the sacrifice, and immediately following the slaying of the animal, the Israelites were to take the blood and put it around the doors of their homes. The blood of the sacrifice served to save the people from the angelic slayer of the firstborn. This took place during the daylight season, this sacrifice. Exodus 12:7. "And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the doorposts of the houses. And the blood shall be to you a token upon the houses where you are. And when I see the blood, I will pass over you. And the plague shall not be upon you to destroy you when I smite the land of Egypt." So the Passover holy day begins during the day season and continues through to a portion of the night season. The Passover animal was eaten during the night while the destroyer was entering into all of the homes without the blood token over the doors. Exodus 12:8. "And they shall eat the flesh in that night." Exodus 12:12. "For I will pass through the land of Egypt this night, and will smite all the firstborn in the land of Egypt." And none of the Passover animal could be left until morning, because morning began a new day. Any remaining must have been burnt by fire. Exodus 12:10. "And ye shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it Until the morning you shall burn with fire. Exodus 12:26. And it shall come to pass, when your children shall say unto you, What meaneth you by this service? That you shall say, It is the sacrifice of Yahweh's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Israel in Egypt, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered our houses. The Passover festival occurred within the time frame of sunset of the 14th day until midnight of the 14th night, lasting just over 12 hours. The following morning began the first day of the Unleavened Bread Week. The second and the only other holy day that incorporates the night season into the holy day is the Day of Atonement. We are told in the 23rd chapter of Leviticus when and how to keep the holy day of the Day of Atonement. The Septuagint version of Leviticus 23 and 26 states, And Yah spoke to Moshe, saying, Also on the 10th day of this 7th month is a day of atonement. Ye shall do no work on this selfsame day. It shall be a holy Sabbath to you, and you shall humble your souls from the 9th day of the month, from even to even. You shall keep your Sabbaths. The book of Jubilees, chapter 34, gives us the reason for the solemn celebration of the Day of Atonement, as well as the giving of the reason for the mandated fast, which is known as the affliction of our souls. Jubilees 34:18 states, For this reason it is ordained for the children of Israel that they should afflict themselves on the 10th of the 7th month, on the day that the news which made Jacob weep for Joseph came to Jacob their father, that they should make atonement for themselves thereon with a young goat on the 10th of the 7th month once a year for their sins, for they had grieved the affection of their father regarding Joseph his son. And this day has been ordained so that they should grieve thereon for their sins, and for all their transgressions, and for all their errors, so that they might cleanse themselves on that day once a year. Very much like the historical background given in Exodus 12 for showing the keeping of Passover, Jubilees chapter 34 and verses 12 through 15 give us the historical events surrounding the first keeping of the Day of Atonement. It was the unique historical events surrounding both holy days that gave better clarity as to the inclusion of the night season as well as the day season. Jubilees 34 and 12. And the sons of Jacob slaughtered a kid and dipped the coat of Joseph in the blood and sent it to Jacob their father on the 10th of the 7th month. And he mourned all that night because they had brought it to him in the evening. And he became feverish with mourning for his death. And he said, An evil beast has devoured Joseph, and all the members of his house mourned with him that day, and they were grieving and mourning with him all that day. And his sons and his daughter rose up to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted for his son. So on the 10th day of the 7th month, Jacob mourned for his son Joseph. But as it states in verse 13, Jacob mourned, not eating, fasting, all night of the previous day, the 9th as well as the evening of the 9th, which is when the other sons of Jacob brought Joseph's blood-stained coat of many colors to Jacob on the evening or sunset of the 9th day. The evening of the 9th day of the 7th month is when Jacob began his grieving. All the children of Jacob, along with Jacob, from the evening of the 9th day through the full day of the 10th day, as verse 14 states, fasting and grieving and mourning lasted all that day. And the 10th day, which lasted until the end of the day, which ends after dusk, right before night. The Day of Atonement is celebrating starting the 9th day after sunset when Jacob got the news, and continued all the night, and all throughout the 10th day till evening, which ends after dusk. Let's look at the history surrounding the initial keeping of the other holy days, beginning with the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The first day of unleavened bread occurred the day following Passover. On this day, the Israelites requested and received gifts from the Egyptians. Exodus 12 and 35 states, "And the children of Israel did according to the word of Moshe, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver and jewels of gold and raiment. After receiving these gifts, the Israelites then quickly left Egypt without the leaven for their bread during the daytime." Exodus 12 and 17, "And ye shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in this selfsame day have I brought your armies out of the land of Egypt. Therefore shall you observe this day in your generations by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall there be no leaven found in your houses." It was during these daylight hours that the Israelites were freed from the Egyptian bondage, and today the Feast of Unleavened Bread is also to be kept during the daylight hours. The next holy day to be reviewed is the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of First Fruits, which occur simultaneously because this day is of a double nature. This is spoken of in the book of Jubilees. Jubilees 6 and 19. "Abraham observed it, and Isaac and Jacob and his children observed it up to thy days. For it is the Feast of Weeks and the Feast of First Fruits. This feast is twofold and of a double nature, according to what is written and engraven concerning it. Celebrate it." The book of Leviticus shows us that we are to celebrate this holy feast also during the daytime, on the self-same day. Leviticus 23 and 16 states, "Even until the morrow after the 7th Sabbath shall you number 50 days. Wave them with the bread of the first fruits, and ye shall proclaim on the selfsame day, that it may be a holy convocation unto you. You shall do no servile work." The next holy day to review is the Feast of Trumpets. We are once again told clearly to celebrate this feast during the daytime, not during the night, for on the first day of the 7th month. Leviticus 23 and 24. "Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, In the 7th month, in the first day of the month, you shall have a Sabbath, a memorial of blowing of trumpets, and holy convocation. You shall do no servile work therein." The Feast of Tabernacles also designates that during the day will this feast be celebrated. Leviticus 23 and 34. "Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, The 15th day of this 7th month shall be the Feast of Tabernacles, for 7 days unto Yah. On the first day shall be a holy convocation, you shall do no servile work therein. On the 8th day shall be a holy convocation unto you, you shall do no servile work therein." Jubilees chapter 16 makes it very clear that this feast is to be kept during the daylight hours. Historically, our forefather Abraham celebrated specifically in the morning. Jubilees chapter 16 and verse 29. "They shall celebrate the Feast of Tabernacles, for it is ordained forever regarding Israel that they should celebrate it and dwell in booths, and set wreaths upon their heads, and take leafy boughs and willows from the brook. And Abraham took branches of palm trees and the fruit of goodly trees, and every day going around the altar with the branches 7 times a day in the morning. He praised and gave thanks to his Elohim for all things in joy." The previous passage in Jubilees highlighted the use of evergreen branches that we read in Leviticus. Leviticus 23 and verse 40. "And ye shall take you on the first day the boughs of goodly trees, branches of palm trees, and the boughs of thick trees, and willows of the brook, and ye shall rejoice before Yahweh your Elohim." All praise be to the Most High God Yahweh. Praise Yah for his mercies, blessings, and continuing to drop the scales from our eyes. His scriptures speak to us directly and clearly. Day means light and night means darkness. Genesis 1 and 5. "And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And the evening and the morning were the first day." Praise Yah.